He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A Wednesday night that finds us one day closer to a huge game in the AFC South. What an opportunity the Jacksonville Jaguars have this Sunday. They can basically put the Texans out to pasture, at least as far as the AFC South goes, trying to sweep Houston for the first time in, 6-7 years, trying to win back-to-back road games, meaning 2 road games in a 7-day stretch for only the third time dating back to 2014. And it is a beat-up group of Jaguars. It is an even more beat-up group of Houston Texans. 10 Houston Texans did not practice today. And, of course, the big news, DeMeco Ryans, the head coach of Houston, has already ruled C.J. Stroud out of the game. So no C.J. Stroud for Houston. It will be Davis Mills. And you know what that means? Nothing. Or as Jim Mora once said, doesn't mean diddly poo. Because I'm old enough to remember Jake Browning absolutely obliterating this Jaguar defense about 6 or 7 weeks ago. So just because it's Davis Mills, who, by the way, has started a lot more games in his career than Jake Browning, I wouldn't read anything into that. This is going to be a desperate Houston Texan football team. We shall see what happens, but certainly a great opportunity for Jacksonville and a desperate team, the Houston Texans, needing to get to 4-5 on the year. Guest lineup tonight looks like this. I was down in the Jaguar locker room earlier today, had one-on-one conversations with linebacker Ventrell Miller and offensive tackle Anton Harrison, and you will hear both of those conversations coming up here in less than 15 or so minutes of Hacker After Dark. So again, Anton Harrison and Ventrell Miller, my one-on-one conversations with those two gentlemen coming up in less than 15 or so minutes. Also, former Jaguar offensive tackle Leon Searcy. You hear him every day on Prime Time. We get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. We will look back on the Raiders win. We will preview the Texans with Leon Searcy. That conversation comes up later on here in the 8 o'clock hour. As always, we're glad you're with us on a Wednesday here on Hacker After Dark. Every night on HAD, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No, because it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Liam Cohen met the media earlier today. So did Trevor Lawrence. We'll give you a couple of their thoughts coming up here momentarily. You know, there's a lot of reasons why I love doing what I do, obviously. I'm very blessed to be doing this for as long as I have, and I don't take that for granted. One of the things at the top, though, is being able to go into the Jaguar locker room and have conversations with the guys. Look at them eye to eye, talk to them in an interview setting or even when the microphones and cameras are turned off. And you learn so much about this football team. You learn so much about the vibe and everything going on down there. Everything that we sit here and talk about, beginning at 6 a.m. with Jeff Prosser, going all the way to when I join you at 8 o'clock at night, and all points in between. We talk so much about all these various topics. Well, getting to go into the locker room and actually ask the guys about them, I think is unbelievably valuable, and that's why I never miss a week down there. And when I was down there tonight or earlier today, and you'll hear Anton Harrison and you'll hear Ventrell Miller, you know, I asked them about two things in particular. I asked them about Cam Little. Not so much about the 68-yard field goal, Not so much about the 48-yard game-tying field goal. But what I asked him about was Liam Cohen publicly supporting Cam Little when not a lot of guys were, myself included, right? I said the Jaguars should have brought in a kicker at least to the practice squad, giving Cam some competition. Every time Cohen was asked about it in the previous 2 weeks, Cam's our guy. We have an amazing amount of confidence in him. Cam is our guy. It's backing your player up. And I asked the Jaguar veterans about that. What does that mean in that locker room when the coach backs up one of your teammates who is struggling, and then your teammate goes out there and has a performance like Cam Little did in a positive way on Sunday? I also asked about, what does it say to the locker room when the front office is buyers at the trade deadline, bringing in Jacoby Myers a couple of weeks ago, trading for Greg Newsome? What kind of message does that send to that locker room? And you'll hear their answers momentarily. And I did talk to Bayshell Tootin today. I talked to Antonio Johnson today, Chuma Edoga. We'll play those conversations later in the week. Did a lot of one-on-ones. Across the board, man. Across the board. When you bring up Liam Cohen and his support of Cam Little, when Cam Little was struggling, and Liam Cohen supporting him publicly, sticking with him when other people said, nope, you got to go out and find another kicker. And then to see Cam thrive like he did on Sunday, you see the genuine emotion between Liam Cohen and Cam Little after that game. That means a lot to those guys in that locker room. A lot. Nothing against some of the previous head coaches that have been here, maybe with the exception of Urban Meyer. But some guys, that's just not their thing, right? They're NFL men like Doug Peterson and Doug Marrone. They do things a certain way. The old guard, if you will. And not that that doesn't work, because obviously Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl in Philadelphia. But it doesn't work in every locker room. Didn't work here. Doug Marrone, really good 2017, right? Aside from that, what he did here did not work. And goodness gracious, we don't even need to go back to the days of, Gus Bradley, Mike Mularkey, etc. You know what is working here? Very quickly, as a matter of fact? What Liam Cohen is doing. Yeah, there's the X's and the O's, right? There's the game planning. That's a huge part of it. But it's the relationships he's building with those players. It's the confidence he's instilling in those players. It's the not giving up on guys like Cam Little who are struggling, supporting him publicly over and over and over. And then you see what happens there in Las Vegas last Sunday. Yeah, these guys are highly paid athletes. Yeah, these guys are professional football players. That's all true. There's no debating that. But they're also human beings, right? They also, they play a gladiator sport, but, they have feelings. And I get the sense that to a man, every one of them, at least the ones I've talked to, and I've talked to darn near everybody down there since training camp started, they like Liam Cohen, man. They like their head coach. And when a team likes their head coach, you can do some really, really great things, which is what the Jaguars are doing. 5-3, 4-1 in one-score games. When's the last time that happened here in Jacksonville? Liam Cohen has brought a new philosophy, a new presence, a new aura, if you will, to this Jaguar organization. And I can tell you, everybody down there in that locker room that I've talked to, they like and they support Liam Cohen. And that is a big, big deal for any National Football League team. Quickly, William Cohen met the media earlier today. Let's get a quick thought from him on Jakobi Meyers coming to Jacksonville. Jakobi was there today. I think he arrived this morning. He was on the practice field, talked to the media after practice. William Cohen was asked about Jakobi Meyers and how he can help this Jaguar offense.
Yeah, I think have followed his career pretty closely, being in the Northeast myself, the Patriots, watching those guys over the years. And then obviously moving into a couple different roles, former quarterback, always appreciate that, really in any skilled player. But the ability, tough, strong hands, has been physical as a separator in ISO situations. I've only heard great things about the pro. Edgar's worked with him in the past as well. So, definitely excited to have him.
Yeah, Jakobi Meyers will make his Jaguar debut on Sunday. I also asked a lot of the guys, and you'll hear Ventrell Miller and Anton Harrison talk about this as well. What does it tell you in the locker room when the team goes out and brings in Jakobi Meyers, brings in a Greg Newsome, thinks you're good enough to win now? Let's add now. Let's go for it now. I think you'll be very interested by their response. Trevor Lawrence was asked about Jakobi Meyers today. We'll bring you those comments in a moment. And again, you will hear my one-on-one conversations with Ventrell Miller and Anton Harrison from the Jaguar locker room coming up in less than 10 minutes. It is a Wednesday night here in Jacksonville, Florida, and we're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark till 10 o'clock right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
4th down and 11, game on the line.
11 guys line up, but only one will end up the Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game.
And there he goes.
On 1010XL.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Tired of roofers who never answer the phone and just use AI?
I'm Morgan Conley, the People's Roofer. I answer every call. No robots, no runaway. I'm born here, built here, staying here. Visit morganconleyroofing.org.
When you want to be heard, send your opinion to the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
Thank you for believing in me when the bosses didn't give me a chance.
641-1010. No texting and driving. Get your thoughts heard on 1010XL.
Strap in, Duval. The Jaguars are gearing up to face the Los Angeles Chargers Sunday, November 16th for our annual Salute to Service game. Join us as we honor and celebrate the brave men and women of our military all game long. Secure your seats now and be a part of the action by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. Let's stand together, Duval.
You've got a circle of friends, right? Well, how about a circle of beer? All your favorites like Bud Light, Bud Heavy, Mick Ultra, or Natty Light. It's all there in the cold case at Circle K. Probably one right around the corner right now calling your name. Slide on in to a Circle K.
Leonard Skinner is coming home, and they're bringing the Stars and Stripes. Celebrate Southern rock and American pride with Leonard Skinner Rocks the Red, White, and Blue. It's a special night to support St. Michael's soldiers and the brave men and women of our armed forces.
Singing songs about the Southland.
Saturday, November 8th at Daly's Place. Tickets on sale now, only at Ticketmaster. Daly'sPlace.com for details. Be there when Skinner rocks, for those who serve.
Hun, look in the backyard. Is that oil coming out of the ground?
What? Oil?
Yeah, we've struck it rich.
When was the last time we had our septic tank pumped?
Ooh, crap. That's not oil.
Exactly.
Is it time to pump out your septic tank? Call Duck Duck Rooter. Their professional septic service removes sludge that can cause costly emergencies. Don't delay. Call Duck Duck Rooter today.
When you're stuck, call the duck. DuckDuckRooter.com.
What if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home and drop your mortgage rate to 4.99% APR? Hey, Prosper here, and right now at Loan Pronto, they've got the lowest rates in 3 years. With Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and even skip your next 2 house payments. One client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off their debt, paid off 2 car loans, saved $2,100 a month. One call, life change. There's no wait, no hard credit pull. You probably won't need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Rates at a 3-year low. Act now. Call 914-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal. See how much cash you can get today. Call 914-999-1508. See how much cash you can get today. You can also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Did you know that basketball and volleyball were invented at the YMCA? That's right, and even today, the Y continues to lead the way in youth sports programming, from toddlers just starting out to teens ready to compete. The Y offers skill development, recreational play, and competitive leagues, all in a fun, supportive environment. Get your child in the game to build character and skills at the Y. Registration is now open for youth volleyball and soccer at fcymca.org.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us. 1010XL, 92.5 FM. Thank you to our friends at Jaguars.com for the audio. I talked about Liam Cohen addressing Jakobi Meyers' arrival earlier today when he met with the media. Well, the guy that will be throwing Jakobi Meyers the football come Sunday, Trevor Lawrence, also met the media earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center. And he was asked about meeting Jakobi Meyers for the first time.
He's been great so far. I mean, like you said, just met him. So obviously I don't know him super well, but, you know, Mac Jones actually texted me when we got him. I guess it was yesterday. He texted me and said, you know, you're going to love him. You know, one of the favorite guys I've played with. So he said great things about him. And I talked to Jakobi about that today. They played together, I think, for 3 years in New England. So just hearing, you know, Mac say that, and I've heard a lot of really positive things about him as a person. And then I've watched him play a good bit, and I've always really liked his game and the way he plays, and he's a great player. So obviously I'm excited to add him and get him involved and just get him up to speed as soon as possible. And, you know, he seems really smart. It's like he's picking it up pretty quick already. Obviously going to help him as much as I can and get him going. But, yeah, glad we have him.
Yeah, I think that was the sentiment down there. Glad we have him. Brian Thomas Jr. did not practice today. De'Ami Brown was limited. Tim Patrick, who did not play last week, I believe Tim Patrick was limited too, if memory serves. So there are issues at wide receiver, right? Remember last week in the win against Las Vegas, you ended with Parker Washington, Tim Jones, and Austin Trammell. So now you bring in Jakobi Meyers. And look, I think it's contingent on Brian Thomas Jr.'s status. Who knows what BTJ's status is going to be? Again, he did not practice today. We will see what happens. You know, tomorrow is a big day. For anybody that doesn't practice on Wednesday, Thursday is always a really big day. Because if you don't practice on Wednesday or Thursday, the odds of you playing on Sunday go down drastically. That's why I'm going to be very interested with the Texans injury report tomorrow, too. Houston had 10 guys not practice today due to injury. Now, if they have 10 guys tomorrow that don't practice due to injury, that'll be something. We already know C.J. Stroud has been ruled out. But back to Jakobi Meyers, if Brian Thomas Jr. doesn't play on Sunday, I think Jakobi Meyers, as much as he can be, being here for, 4 days, will be as big a part of the offense as you could make him be in 4 days, because you're going to need him out of necessity. Again, with De'Ami Brown being limited, Tim Patrick coming back off of injury, you just don't have a lot of bodies there. If BTJ is good to go, that takes a little bit of the pressure off Jakobi Meyers. But if BTJ doesn't go, Jacoby's going to be thrown into the fire, man. To me, there is absolutely no doubt about that. All right. Again, thank you to Jaguars.com. My Jaguar locker room one-on-ones. You'll hear from linebacker Ventrell Miller in one moment. Earlier today, I also had the opportunity to catch up with Anton Harrison. Was it the best game for the Jaguar offensive line in 2025? Ran the ball down the Raiders' throats in the fourth quarter and in overtime. Kept Trevor reasonably clean, too, all things considered. I thought the offensive line, who had been bad in the two losses to Seattle and the Rams, maybe had their best performance on Sunday against the Raiders. I caught up with Anton Harrison earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center. Inside the Jaguar locker room, Jaguars getting ready for the Houston Texans on Sunday. We got Jaguar offensive tackle Anton Harrison with us here on 1010XL. Anton, how'd practice go out there today?
It was good. Getting back out there, getting our bodies right. Get ready for this weekend.
Offensive line really made a statement. That final drive in overtime, 8 consecutive runs, punching it into the end zone. How good did that feel for this unit to be able to accomplish that on Sunday?
I felt great. It's something as an O-line you always want to do is run the ball. You always want to be able to run it whenever you want to. So we felt like we was able to do that. We was getting positive yards doing that. So we did it. Everybody, the whole line, tight ends, running back receivers, everybody did their job, and we seen how we was able to score. So that's something that we want to do as an offense.
You know, when you look at the final stats, over 140 yards rushing, Trevor pretty clean. Do you think that was maybe your best game of the year as a unit?
Yeah, it's definitely up there. It was I don't want to say full because we killed ourselves a lot, but it was almost a complete performance, run game, pass protection, things like that. We always got room to grow, always got things to get better at, but overall we feel like it was a pretty good run game and pass protection.
You've been around here for a couple of years now. A lot of games like that the Jaguars haven't won in years past. To win a game like that on the road in overtime, what could that do moving forward for this team?
It's just good momentum we need to keep going. We know what we got in here and what we got in this team. We know what we can do and how far we can take it. But just going through adversity like that, it's NFL. Every game not going to be pretty. Every win not going to be pretty, but it's a win at the end of the day. It's hard to get wins like that in this league. So being on the other side of it feels great. You got to keep pushing and keep staying motivated, getting through adversity and getting up, ending on top.
Final moments with Anton Harrison. Cam Little doing what he did. When you see Liam Cohen publicly support his kicker, obviously he had struggled the last couple of weeks, but supported him at every time he could, and then to see Cam accomplish that on Sunday, what does that do for a locker room when your head coach supports one of your teammates like that?
It's big, knowing that he got us no matter what. You said Cam, he had a rough couple last weeks, but him, no matter what, just being there, knowing what Cam really is and knowing what Cam can do, we all know what he can do. So we all didn't lose no faith in him, no trust in him. As an offense, it's crazy. Like, we get past the 50, we probably could kick this. So it's great to have something like that, and we all believe in Cam, and having our coaches back him like that, no matter if he had a good week or a bad week, it's always big for a team. And to knowing your leader can do that and will do that for you is just huge.
Similar question. You see Newsome be brought in here. Now Myers comes in here. When you see the front office making moves, giving you guys the pieces to make a run at this thing, again, what does that do for this locker room?
It's huge. Obviously, we already knew we had in here. Just adding another good piece and another good couple pieces to it, it's only going to make us better. They're going to bring something that obviously the higher-ups felt like we needed, and them guys going to come in and play right away. So they're going to contribute big, and it's only going to keep us going. They know what we could do, and they feel like those pieces going to get us there. So we're just going to keep pushing, and hopefully they can help us out too.
Final question. In Bro division game, you guys could really hamper Houston's future chances in the division with a win on Sunday. What's the thought going out to Houston to play your division rival?
Dominate the game, win the game, straight like that. It's a divisional game. We hate them. They hate us. We want to win just as bad as they want to win. So, and it's a away game. We all want to go there. Just take it from them, really. Just win the game and then come back to Jacksonville. Just like that.
Anton, best of luck. We'll be watching.
Appreciate it.
We hate them. They hate us. Love it. Love it. And that's true. I mean, I said this going into week 3. Your biggest rival is no longer the Tennessee Titans. I mean, you can have the hatred for Eddie George and Steve McNair, God rest his soul, and Jeff Fisher and Blaine Bishop and Samari Rolle and all of those Titan teams. But that was darn near 30 years ago, man. What are we at? 26, 27 years ago. Biggest rival now, until Indianapolis has something to say about it, which they kind of are, but as we speak, it's the Houston Texans. Azeez Al-Shaair, D'Amico Ryans, by the way. Did you see this? C.J. Stroud got a brutal hit on him when he was sliding down last week. All of a sudden, D'Amico Ryans thinks it's dirty. He didn't think that when Azeez Al-Shaair did that to Trevor Lawrence last year. And you can bury these guys on Sunday. They're done, for the most part, in the division if you go into their house and beat them. What an opportunity for the Jacksonville Jaguars to bury their rival, to sweep their rival, and for all intents and purposes, end any chance the Texans have of winning the AFC South. Also in the Jaguar locker room earlier today, had the opportunity to catch up with former Florida Gator, current Jacksonville Jaguar, Ventrell Miller. Ventrell's been playing a lot while Devin Lloyd's been out, and I think been doing a pretty good job. Here is my one-on-one earlier today in the Miller Electric Center with linebacker Ventrell Miller. All right, inside the Jaguar locker room, Ryan Green down here for 1010XL with Jaguar linebacker Ventrell Miller. Ventrell, how'd practice go out there today?
It was a pretty good day. Definitely implementing a new scheme for this team. It's been going smooth, though. It was a good day today.
Overtime win on the road last week in the fashion that it happened. I mean, what's been the momentum that's caused over the last couple of days, not getting back to practice?
Finish everything we do. Like I said, it came down to the wire, the last play of the game. So finishing everything we do, making sure we communicating and executing at the highest level.
You've been around here for a couple of years now. Jaguars haven't won a whole lot of games like that in that fashion. What's different this year? Why are they 4 and why are you guys 4-1 in one-score games this year?
Just the fight that everybody shows. Also, just the complementary football that everybody's playing. Putting on for defense, special teams, and likewise. But everybody just playing for each other. I feel like that's the biggest thing. And like I said, it feels good being on the other side and actually getting that win. But I think it's just a fight from everybody in all phases for sure. Playing together.
When you see Cam Little do what he did, obviously he had been struggling a little bit going in. Liam Cohen supported him every chance he got publicly. Yeah. What does that do for a locker room when your coach supports your teammate like that?
It just builds your confidence. Like if your coach feel that much about you, feel me? Like I said, it doesn't decrease your confidence, but help it rises. Like I said, and then when they have the next opportunity, you're gonna capitalize on that for sure.
And similar question, you see Jacoby Myers come into this locker room now. We saw Greg Newsome come into this locker room a couple of weeks ago. When the team is making moves to try to improve an already good roster, again, what's that statement to you guys? What does that mean?
I mean, that's the business side of it. Like I said, we definitely welcome everybody to open arms. But like I said, that's the business thing. But like I said, we welcome everybody. Glad to have him, actually. Seeing him out there at practice today and looking pretty good. So glad to have him. Like I said, but we welcome him with open arms and try to get him to establish our culture, you feel me? Show him our culture, how we do things around here. So.
Final moments with Ventrell Miller. You were laying the lumber out there on Sunday, man. Do you feel like you're playing some pretty good football right now?
I feel like I'm playing all right. Always room for improvement, so I always look. I'm very critical of myself, so I'm always looking at how I can improve. But yeah, that's definitely play physical. That's the play type I try to play with every time I go out there. Physicality and being sharp mentally as well.
I mean, NFL games are always physical, obviously, but you guys are physical this year. Do you sense a difference in this defense from maybe the first year or two that you were here?
Oh yeah, that's the culture of the defense. We want to be out physical everybody, out execute, out physical everybody, and that's the mentality camp has done instilled all through OTA's camp that we're gonna be out physical everybody, and that's how we practice. We practice like that, and it shows up in the game.
Final question: Houston on the road, division road game. You guys could really hamper their chances in the division with a win. What's the thought going out there on Sunday?
Control what we control. Like I said, BS. We know that. Like you said, we BS. We able to beat anybody in the country. So just being that, making sure we go out there and execute and communicate. But like I said, it's gonna be a good game, good division game, and looking forward to it for sure.
Ventrell, best of luck. We'll be watching.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you.
There you go, linebacker Ventrell Miller, offensive tackle Anton Harrison. Appreciate both of those guys joining us here tonight on Hacker After Dark. Of course, those were the conversations earlier in the Miller Electric Center. Also, Antonio Johnson, Bashel Tootin, Chuma Edoga. You will hear those conversations coming up later in the week right here on Hacker After Dark. From current Jacksonville Jaguars to a former Jacksonville Jaguar, my buddy Leon Searcy. You hear him every day on Prime Time. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. And Sunday, You'll get Leon, myself, and the coach, Gerald Ingram, 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Texans go final for the 5th quarter. Certainly looking forward to that conversation, that show, and I will have a chat with Leon Searcy coming up here in one moment, both reviewing the win over the Raiders, talking about the arrival of Jacoby Myers, and previewing the game out in Houston. Speaking of Sunday, I will be hosting a Jaguar watch party, Pour Tap Room, downtown Laura and Forsyth Street. Looking forward to being out there for the game between the Jaguars and the Texans. Invite you to join me down at Pour Tap Room. I have not been yet. I have heard it is absolutely fantastic. Denmark, you were actually out there for a couple of Florida Gator watch parties. I've heard it's a terrific place to watch games.
Yeah, I was there twice. I was there for the great Florida-Miami game and the other great Florida-LSU game.
All right, so you brought some bad mojo to Pour Tap Room.
Yeah, apparently. But it is a cool place. You know, there's no bartender. You walk around. They give you like a little wristband. It gives you it has like a scan ID on it for you to get whatever beverage you want, and they got TVs all over the place and good food. It's a cool spot.
Well, I will be down there on Sunday watching all the NFL action and obviously being front and center for the Jaguars and the Texans, and I do hope you join me. Jaguar Watch Party, Pour Tap Room, downtown at Laura and Forsyth Street. Leon Searcy joins me next, right here on Hacker After Dark.
4th and goal at the 1. They set up in the eye. When you add up the moments and break down the best,
It's a hostile environment.
you're left with a performance-painting, high-performance play of the game
Up in the air, it is caught!
on 1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. If you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just the job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Jason, I called you about the ductwork in my attic this summer, and you totally blew me off.
I did.
My airflow is too low and my bills are too high.
I know.
There's stains on my ceiling tiles and sweating around the vents, and the mice have chewed so many holes in the ducts, I think they're getting more AC than I am.
I know.
Then how could you let me suffer all summer, Jason?
Because summer is the one time of year I just can't send my technician into someone's steaming hot attic. They'd kill me. Ductwork is hot, cramped work at the best of times. Lucky for you, those best of times are in November.
You mean like now?
Bueller Air and Plumbing can repair your old, damaged, or just plain sketchy ductwork right now when it's not too hot and not too cold.
And none of your technicians will kill you.
It's a win-win.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Morning, Zoe. Got donuts.
Jeff Bridges, why are you still living above our garage?
Well, I dig the mattress, and I want to be in a T-Mobile commercial like you. Teach me, Saldana.
Oh, no, I'm not really prepared. I couldn't possibly. At T-Mobile, get the new iPhone 17 Pro on them. It's designed to be the most powerful iPhone yet and has the ultimate pro camera system.
Wow, impressive. Let me try. T-Mobile is the best place to get iPhone 17 Pro because they've got the best network.
Nice, Jeffrey.
You heard them. T-Mobile is the best place to get the new iPhone 17 Pro on us with eligible trade-in in any condition.
So, what are we having for lunch?
Dude, my work here is done.
The 24 monthly bill credits on experience beyond for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off earlier. Cancel. Finance agreement iPhone 17 Pro, 256 gigs, $1,099.99 and new line minimum $100 plus. plus a month plan with autopay plus taxes and fees required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data 1H2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Hear the Florida Gators all season on 1010XL. Unlocked by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors. The law firm of Farah and Farah and Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville. Go Gators!
This is Dave Barker with IHRS. Are you frustrated with those trendy pills and lotions that claim to make your hair thicker and fuller? Tired of your hair falling out? Our hair restoration solutions have helped over 10,000 men and women restore their hair in as little as 2 office visits.
Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477 or go to hairforme.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars-Texans, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. What an opportunity for the Jaguars. They can basically put the final nail in their division rival's coffin. If Jacksonville beats Houston on Sunday, that would all but end the Texans' AFC South chances here in 2025. Let's talk about that. Let's review the win over Las Vegas, and let's obviously talk about the arrival of Jakobi Meyers. And let's do all that with a former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You hear him every day on XL Primetime. We get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. That's, of course, my pal Leon Searcy. Leon, how are you, bud?
What's good, bro?
You know, you and I spoke on the 5th quarter on Sunday evening. You've had a couple of days to digest the win over Las Vegas, all the things that went wrong for Jacksonville in that game, Leon, and yet they still found a way to get a win on the road.
Yeah, Hack, you know, for the first 45 minutes of that game, it was bad football. Both teams were just abysmal as far as executing penalties, drop passes, missed opportunities. It was just a bevy of follies, to be quite honest with you. But you know what? In the 4th quarter, this Jaguar team got it together, took them to overtime to win the game. And listen, when you go on the road, I know how hard it is to win football games in the NFL. And when you go on the road, you just survive and advance. That's what this team did. You survive and advance. You know, Hamilton blocking that pass, man. It was just a thing of beauty. You want to have those kind of fortunate things happen for you because that kind of game against the Raiders could probably be the difference between whether you make the playoffs or you don't.
That's a great point. And, you know, one of the things that I've watched in the last couple of days, Leon, that overtime drive that the Jaguars had with that touchdown, it was a 10-play drive. They ran it on first down. They then threw a ball to Parker Washington, which was a great throw by Trevor. But, Leon, the last 8 plays were runs. I mean, you want to talk about taking somebody's will away from them. When you run it 8 straight times in the NFL and you end up in the end zone for 6, boy, the big uglies were getting it done up front.
They did, absolutely. I was proud of them, absolutely. Because the knock on them the last couple of weeks before they went into the bye is that the offensive line was soft. You know, they were getting pushed around by defenders. They weren't as physical as they were the first 5 weeks. The running game looked depleted. Etienne looked like he wasn't hitting the hole this hard the last couple of weeks. And then you come into after the bye. It had to be a point of emphasis. It was either a point of emphasis or it was a situation where the Jaguars felt like, you know, the roster was depleted to the point where they had to go into jumbo and heavy sets because the receiving core was banged up. So whatever the reason, I'm just glad that they did what they did because that was a tempo setter. Listen, there's nothing more demoralizing to a defensive lineman when you're going to run the ball and he can't do a damn thing about it.
Former Jaguar Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy with us here on Hacker After Dark. Leon, you know, you and I talked about this on Sunday. I'm curious now. You've had a couple of days to think about it. That interception that Trevor threw, I thought was horrific, and I'm not the only one that thought that. But in watching him after that interception, man, I got to tell you, he played pretty well. I mean, you know, you look at some of those throws in the 4th quarter and in overtime, and that's now 2 times in the last 5 weeks that Trevor has led either game-tying or game-winning drives in the fourth quarter against Kansas City and now against Las Vegas. Outside of that horrific interception, I thought Trevor was really good on Sunday. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, he played well down the stretch. At times when Trevor does those kind of things like the interception, I question his football IQ because you just got to be smarter than that. And if you want to go to where we need to go, well, we're trying to go to, you can't do that against good teams. It'll cost you. It definitely will cost you. Now, the Raiders are abysmal, bad team, so you get away with it. But if you play a team like the Colts or the Broncos or the Bills or down the road, maybe in the playoffs or whatever, that kind of interception costs you games. But in saying all that, I was happy that he bounced back. You're absolutely right. The throws that he made down the stretch, to get us in position to where we tied the game, took the lead and went into overtime, that's what you expect from your $275 million quarterback.
Leon, I want to talk about Jakobi Meyers and certainly look ahead to Houston. Of course, you, myself, and the coach Gerald Ingram will have the fifth quarter here on 1010XL, 2 hours Sunday evening after the Jaguars and the Texans go final. But a quick thought, final thought on the Las Vegas game. Cam Little, obviously a record-setting field goal, a game-tying field goal in the final seconds. And from a player perspective, when he struggled the way he did coming into that game, and Liam Cohen publicly, the head coach, publicly supported him over and over when other people were burying him, quite frankly, myself included. I'm not going to throw stones in a glass house. I said they should have brought in somebody on the practice squad to give him a little competition. The head coach stood by him, and then to see a player respond in that fashion, what kind of message does that send in that locker room about Liam Cohen?
Well, I mean, that he believes in his guys. I mean, he has total confidence that his guys are going to, come through for him. Now, I know it was a couple of seconds left in the half before he kicked it. But most NFL coaches most NFL coaches, they only let players do that kind of stuff in practice or in the preseason. So his hat should go off to Liam Cohen that he gave the kid, he knew the kid was struggling. So he gave the kid an opportunity to, get his confidence back, and he sealed the deal. So, I mean, that kind of kick, listen, that as great a kick that was, the second one was even better because now you've set the record. You're full of all this energy. I mean, let's see if you can kick another one that really counts, with us moving forward. So the kid sealed the deal. I'm happy for him. I was throwing rocks at him as well because he had missed a couple of kicks that, unfortunately, cost us football games, to be quite honest with you. So, yeah, Liam Cohen should be applauded for what he did, gave that kid the opportunity to get his confidence back. So I think he's going to be pretty good moving forward.
Along those lines, Leon, going back into the locker room from a player perspective, the trade deadline came yesterday. The Jaguars obviously did what they did in acquiring Jakobi Meyers. We'll talk about him in a moment. But from a team point of view, what is the message being sent from the Jaguars of going out there and being buyers at the trade deadline?
Well, that's the difference between being 5-3 and being 4-4. We had to win that game against Oakland because winning that game in Oakland, not only does it give you motivation moving forward, but it could be the pipeline to the playoffs because now you're in the hunt. Right now, if the playoffs were to start, the Jaguars would be the 7th seed, so you're in the playoffs. So acquiring, quite frankly, a needed addition because our wide receiving group is banged up. You got your veteran guy. You got your long, lanky guy who's smart. He could be a possessional guy. I don't think he's going to be the kind of guy that's going to take the top off the defenses, but I think he's going to be a nice possessional guy for us. And I heard he's a good locker room guy. He's very smart. So, you need those kind of guys in your locker room. Reliable. I think he's got the 3rd fewest drops, something like that in the NFL. So he catches the ball. Quite frankly, he should hold a tutorial for the wide receiver corps. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think you make that kind of decision, and getting you added addition when you're 5-3, when you feel like that you're in the hunt and that you can shake some things up moving forward.
Final moments with the former Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. From Jakobi Meyers' point of view, a guy that's played a lot of football. I believe he's in year 8 of his career. He was a 1,000-yard receiver last year. He's going to probably have to play on Sunday, Leon. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He got here, I think, this morning, and he should be on the practice field the rest of the week. But realistically, what can we expect out of Jakobi Meyers with 3 days of practice, a walkthrough on Saturday, and throwing him out there on Sunday in a big division game?
Well, I mean, the route tree doesn't change. The verbiage does. So I'm pretty sure Edgar Bennett, who is the wide receiving coach, he's just going to go over the terminology and the verbiage because, I mean, a curl's a curl, a slant's a slant, a goal's a goal, a post's a post. So the route tree doesn't change. It's just formationally, schematically, depending on what position you're at, it may change as far as the verbiage goes. So, I mean, I think once he gets the verbiage down, whether he plays outside or at the slot position, I think he's going to be fine.
And you mentioned Edgar Bennett. There's some familiarity there because Edgar Bennett was his coach out in Las Vegas, and now he comes back to reunite with Edgar Bennett here in Jacksonville. Leon, that brings us to Sunday. They have a chance, the Jaguars do, they have a chance to bury the Houston Texans. The Jaguars are 5-3. The Texans are 3-5. The Jaguars already have a head-to-head victory over them in Week 3. If Jacksonville goes out to Houston and sweeps them on the year, gets to 6-3, the Texans fall to 3-6, you're basically up 3 games plus an additional tiebreaker, so you're basically up 4 with 8 to go. And if you're up 4 with 8 to go, that's probably curtains for the Texans. And the Texans know this. It's their season on Sunday. They are going to come out like gangbusters. I am fascinated to see what happens Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Well, I mean, they're a desperate team. Like you said, their season's on the line. I mean, the Colts came back to the pack a little bit after losing to the Steelers. That should be our focus. I mean, yeah, the Texans, absolutely, they're going to play like gangbusters in this game. But you got to make it a heavyweight fight. You know, both teams are going to throw blows. Both teams are going to try to haymaker the other team out of the game. But you just got to stick and move the whole game. All you have to do is make it a game in the fourth quarter. Make it a game. If the offensive line runs the ball the way they ran the ball against the Oakland Raiders, against a formidable defensive front like the Texans have, I think we're going to be good to go.
Leon, leave us with this. Only twice in the last decade. Now, in fairness, it doesn't happen, but every so often. But only twice in the last decade has this Jaguar football team won back-to-back games on the road, meaning in a 7-day stretch. They won in Las Vegas. Now, 7 days later, they got to go to Houston. Tell us about that mindset, going back-to-back on the road, because, again, the Jaguars just haven't won a lot of 2 road game sets in a 7-day period in the last 10 years.
Well, I mean, listen. I mean, it's stressful, but you got to man up. I mean, yeah, I've been in those type of situations. You just got to man up. You know what's at stake. You have an opportunity. You just look at it as another opportunity. It's a business trip. You're there to take care of business. It's tough. The turnaround is hard on your body, mentally and physically, but, man, you just got to man up. It can't be about you. It's got to be about the team. I always said that I always look at myself in the mirror and say, don't let you be the problem. If you don't let you be the problem, we got a chance to win. So, we had to do that on the road in 96, back-to-back road trips in the playoffs. So it was tough, but we found a way. And this team just got to suck it up and find a way to get it done.
You hear Leon Searcy every day on XL Prime Time. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. And this Sunday, 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Texans go final, you'll get Leon along with myself and the coach Gerald Ingram on the 5th quarter. Leon, have a terrific rest of your week. I will see you Sunday evening, my friend.
You got it.
Florida Gators football.
All the way to the goal line.
The Gators crawl on the bluegrass.
Touchdown, Gators!
Florida, Kentucky, Saturday at 7:30 on Jacksonville's home of Florida Gators football. 1010 XL.
Football season is here, and our hometown team isn't the only one ready to stack up the wins. At Beaver Toyota, Beaver Chevrolet, and Beaver Mitsubishi, you score big every time you shop with us. Thousands of vehicles, no flags, no fumbles, just hassle-free car buying and big wins with lifetime warranties, lifetime oil changes, and lifetime customer service. Plus, our wow pricing lets you celebrate a touchdown of savings. Beaver Toyota, Beaver Chevrolet, and Beaver Mitsubishi. We're here to wow you.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
E.T. here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
Joe C. here. Want to win 3 free nights up in Nashville for the Titans game? Come stay where I'll be staying at the Omni Nashville, right in the heart of the action. Just text GAME to 641-1010 and you're in to win 3 nights. That's GAME to 641-1010.
Hey, it's Angela and Brian Wall. How many companies do you know in this day and age that actually want their potential customers to call their competition and get quotes from them?
That's what WonderWorld wants you to do. WonderWorld knows there are other window companies out there, but we also know those other guys. When compared to WonderWorld, they can't offer you the quality at the price that WonderWorld can.
And with WonderWorld, you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement business.
If anything goes wrong with your new WonderWorld windows, 5 years from now, 10, 15, 50, WonderWorld and I will be there to fix it for you. You get peace of mind with WonderWorld, and to top it off, WonderWorld windows increase the value of your home. So look what you get with WonderWorld. Quality windows, low price, the best guarantee in the business, energy savings, and an increase in the value of your home. A win-win for you.
Call WindowWorld today and get your free in-home estimate or see them online at windowworldneflorida.com.
WindowWorld, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
What if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home and drop your mortgage rate to 4.99% APR? Hey, Prosper here, and right now at Loan Pronto, they've got the lowest rates in 3 years. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and even skip your next 2 house payments. One client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off their debt, paid off 2 car loans, saved $2,100 a month. One call, life change. There's no wait, no hard credit pull. You probably won't need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Rates at a 3-year low. Act now. Call 914-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal. See how much cash you can get today. Call 914-999-1508. See how much cash you can get today. You can also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
I know 2 brothers whose minds are always in the gutters.
Hi, I'm Tim.
And I'm Kevin.
We are the Good Brothers.
That's good with an E.
From Good Brothers Roofs and Gutters.
We install 6 and 7-inch seamless gutters, plus we repair and replace roofs, pool enclosures, and super gutters.
We are the Good Brothers, veteran-owned and local.
Visit goodbrothersroofsandgutters.com.
License number CCC 1334384.
Good Brothers Roofs and Gutters.
Hey, Hicken here for my friends at Beards Diamonds, where they are having the biggest sale all year right now. Beard's 44th anniversary sale is happening with up to 44% savings. It's our biggest and final store-wide event of the year. Beard's largest selection and lowest prices. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, pendants, colored gemstones. Their cases are jam-packed, and our associates know they can break all the rules for this one. Shop early for Christmas. Get the Beards now as they mark another year of proudly serving Jacksonville. In a sea of corporate chain jewelry stores, Beards is honored to be the only local jeweler in the town center. No commission salespeople, no corporate chain sales gimmicks, no treating you like a number. Don't miss Beards Diamonds' 44th anniversary sale. From golden necklaces to lab-grown diamond studs to all the latest styles from top designers, you'll find it at Beards. In the St. John's Town Center, I say, shop local, shop Beards.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by November 6th.
Hey friends, Frank Frangie here. You know me. I don't mess around when it comes to taking care of business. Well, if your plumbing or AC company is giving you excuses, it's time to make a trade. Call the pros at Duck Duck Rooter. They're the trusted partner for some of the biggest commercial names in Northeast Florida. Their office team keeps billing smooth and their field techs show up ready to fix the problem. Fast and right. Bring in the starters with Duck Duck Rooter, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Call 904-862-6769. 904-862-6769. Tell them Frank sent you.
Leonard Skinner is coming home, and they're bringing the Stars and Stripes. Celebrate Southern rock and American pride with Leonard Skinner Rocks the Red, White, and Blue. It's a special night to support St. Michael's soldiers and the brave men and women of our armed forces.
Singing songs about Southland.
Saturday, November 8th at Daly's Place. Tickets on sale now, only at Ticketmaster. Daly'sPlace.com for details. Be there when Skinner rocks for those who serve.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Work it, make it, do it. Makes us all better, faster, stronger.
Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We will take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night. Right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Coming up here in the 9 o'clock hour, Ryan Fowler, NFL analyst. He's been one of my draft guys, my NFL guys for years. We'll talk not only about the Jaguars, we'll look around the rest of the AFC South and certainly preview the Jaguars and the Texans. That comes up towards the bottom of the hour. Coming up in about 15 minutes, David Waters, the host of the Gators Breakdown podcast, as we will take a look at Florida, Kentucky, take a brief look back on the loss to Georgia. Why is DJ Lagway struggling so bad right now? Why is Florida as injured as they are right now? More on that in a moment. And what about this game against the Kentucky Wildcats up in Lexington? Florida's battled, right, for a while, but coach gets fired. They put so much emotion into that game against Georgia. You saw the emotion on the sideline after the loss. Does the bottom fall out in Lexington? We'll talk to David Waters, host of the Gators Breakdown podcast, about all of that coming up here in about 15 minutes or so. Quickly, before we get into the world of college football, I did want to tell you about the injury report. Also want to let you hear a couple of more thoughts from Jaguar head coach Liam Cohen. So it's a mash unit on both sides for the Jaguars and the Texans. Jaguars that did not practice today: guard Ezra Cleveland, wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr., tight end Hunter Long, and cornerback Jordan Lewis all did not practice. Now let's think about this for a moment. All right, if Ezra Cleveland is unable to go, well, one would think that's sort of simple. You just put Cole Van Lanen in there, which is what happened last week after Ezra left in the fourth quarter. Depth then might become an issue, but keep in mind, Chuma Edoga And Wyatt Milam is healthy now, the third-round pick out of West Virginia. Basically, every Jaguar rookie has been injured at some point. Wyatt Milam was injured, but he's now healthy. So in a pinch, again, you wouldn't probably want this to happen, but in a pinch, maybe Wyatt Milam might be one of the 53. Also, Jonah Monheim with Chuma Edoga if Cleveland can't go and Van Lanen has to step in for him. Jordan Lewis, that would be a tough one, right? Because you're already minus Travis Hunter. So if you think about that one for a second, again, Jordan Lewis did not practice today. You got Greg Newsome. You got Monteric Brown, who played very well last week. You got Jarian Jones. You got Christian Braswell. You might have to bring somebody up off the practice squad. That would be a potential issue if Jordan Lewis cannot go. Hunter Long, same thing. You're very thin at tight end, but Quentin Morris, who has missed the last couple of games, is practicing now. So maybe, again, it's early in the week, but Long did not practice. Would Long just go out and Quentin Morris come in? We'll see. They need Brenton Strange back, man. Brenton Strange is eligible to have his window opened on Monday. Now, this will be his fourth game that he's missed. I don't really know what Brenton Strange's status is, but maybe we'll find out more on that next week. And then finally, Brian Thomas Jr. Again, De'Ami Brown was limited. Now, the good news, Tim Patrick was full today, and then you obviously just traded for Jacoby Myers. So one would think, even if BTJ doesn't go, you will still have Parker Washington. You will have the newly acquired Jacoby Myers, however much he can learn in 4 days. You will have Tim Patrick and probably De'Ami Brown, because Brown was at least limited today. So we'll see. Quickly on the Texans, they had 10 guys that did not practice today. The 10 Texans that did not practice: Will Anderson, Danico Autry on the D-line, tight end Harrison Bryant, running back Nick Chubb. Their kicker's actually hurt, Kaimi Fairbairn, who probably won't play. It probably will be former Jaguar legend Matthew Wright. Remember him? The guy that beat the Dolphins in London when Urban Meyer was here? The Texans just signed him yesterday. Other Texans that did not practice: offensive tackle Titus Howard, offensive guard Ed Ingram. You also had safety Jalen Petrie. Tight end Dalton Schultz was limited, and we already know C.J. Stroud is out with a concussion. Both teams are banged and bruised, no doubt about that. It might be a battle of attrition on Sunday in what is a very important game in the AFC South between the Jaguars and the Texans. It's the only game that'll be going on Sunday afternoon in the division. The Titans are off. Indianapolis has the Sunday morning game over in Europe, taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Quickly to Florida, because I want to talk about the Gators. David Waters, the host of the Gators Breakdown podcast, will join us in about 10 minutes. So the Gators were already going to be without Dallas Wilson. We know that Vernell Brown has missed time. We know that Aiden Mizell has missed time. And now the guy who was the best player on offense last week outside of Jaden Ball, Trey Wilson, he has now been ruled out. Denmark, not that it really matters, because Florida's 3-5, right? They're playing out the stretch. But they've ruled 13 players out due to injury. And this seems to be a trend year after year after year. Is there a rhyme or reason why Florida has this amount of injuries every single year?
No, I would say no, just because, it's just a one-off. Every time it's a one-off situation where...
It just seems like this happens a lot to them.
Yeah, it does.
Though.
Like, I remember Muschamps last year, 2014, when Florida had, I think, like 17 starters out. Or it was something ridiculous like that. A lot of it's just a lot of soft tissue or an ACL. There's nothing you can really do about it. But, yeah, it does suck. It does feel like Florida gets the bad end of a lot of those injuries.
Trey Wilson was just showing some stuff, and he was dynamic against Georgia. And the fact that he's out, these are the Gators that are out for Saturday. Trey Wilson, Treyon Webb, Dallas Wilson, Ty Jackson, Grayson Howard, L.J. McCray, Aaron Gates, Jacoby Jackson, Dijon Johnson, Caleb Banks. Guys that are questionable are Vernell Brown, Aiden Mizell, and I'm not even reading all the names. I mean, that is crazy. Again, you guys still got 4 games to go. You've played 8 games. You have a couple of byes in there. And the Gators list 13 guys out, and there are additional 3 guys that are questionable. You could be without 16 players.
Well, and all of them are the skinny guys. It seems like you have one D lineman, Caleb Banks, who we know is not coming back. The edge, L.J. McCray. But I mean, a lot of it is your wide receivers and DBs.
Yeah, I mean, they gotta look. Whoever the head coach is, Lane Kiffin, Eli Drinkowitz, or if they hire you next year, Coach Dylan Denmark, you gotta have healthy bodies, man. You gotta have guys that stay out of the cold tub. Guys gotta play. And I don't care who the coach is. If you have 16 guys that are injured, including your top 3 or 4, I mean, right now, arguably, their top 4 wide receivers are on the injury report as either out or questionable. How on earth are you supposed to run an offense like that? Your backup running back, actually, your second and third running backs are out. Your stud is still in there, and Jaden Ball, but you're without Jacoby Jackson, and Treyon Webb basically hasn't played the entire year. So it's just wild.
You do what Billy Napier would love to do and run a 3 tight end set and throw the ball to Tony Livingston and Hayden Hanson, baby.
That would be out of necessity this week. You know, people rip Billy Napier for that. I mean, what else is Florida supposed to do? Their top 4 wide receivers may not play. Boy, you talk about Florida's wide receiver problems and bring it back home to Jacksonville. Finishing the game without Brian Thomas Jr., De'Ami Brown, or obviously Travis Hunter. Good grief, man. Crazy the amount of injuries. We'll talk more Florida, Kentucky with David Waters, host of the Gators Breakdown podcast, coming up here in a moment. Again, the college football playoff rankings, the first ones were released last night. The only, I guess, pushback I got or I heard, the committee used head-to-head in every scenario save one. Every time 2 of the top, 20 teams played each other and they have the same amount of losses, the team that won the game was ahead of the team that they beat, with the obvious exception of Notre Dame, Miami. Miami beat Notre Dame, right? We all saw it. They beat them. Both teams have 2 losses. Notre Dame came in 10th last night. Miami came in 18th. How? How is that even possible? Now, look, if Miami was 12th, 13th, and Notre Dame 10th, okay. How do you have Notre Dame 8 spots ahead of a team that beat them on the field, and they both have 2 losses?
Because Notre Dame lost to an undefeated A&M.
And Miami.
And Miami. And Miami's had...
Louisville's not a bad loss.
No, they're not bad, but it's not an A&M loss.
Well, no, seriously. Louisville's, 14th, 15th in the rankings?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And I don't think SMU was ranked. Miami did not lose to, Wake Forest.
Yeah, well, and you know how this works when it's a calendar loss. Those 2 losses to Notre Dame happened 100 years ago.
No, I get it.
And Miami happened just now.
I'm not a Miami apologist. I like to give Searcy grief whenever anything bad happens to the Hurricanes. But, again, you have a team 8 spots ahead of a team that beat them.
No, and Notre Dame being a top 10 team is kind of a stretch for me.
It's, the logo, and that's a big part of it.
All the good logos were, where they always are positioned.
Again, your top 4 last night was Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama. Those are the 4 that would have byes right now if the playoffs started. Florida is obviously not on that list. They're playing out the stretch. They go to Lexington. Let's talk about that game. Let's talk about the coaching search, Lane Kiffin. And let's also talk about the struggles of DJ Lagway. Will he be back as a Gator in 2026? My buddy David Waters is the host of the Gators Breakdown podcast. He joins me next on a Wednesday night here in Northeast Florida. We're with you till 10 o'clock, Jacksonville. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
It's the one they put in high gear.
Keep going. We got to keep going, keep going, keep going.
It's the Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville drive of the game. Drive to the game in luxury with Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville on 1010XL.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Julington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
He caught the game winner from Danny Warfel and never looked back. Former Gator Chris Goring joins Dan and Jeff on The Drill Tuesday mornings at 7:20 on 1010XL. Protected by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Strap in, Duval. The Jaguars are gearing up to face the Los Angeles Chargers Sunday, November 16th for our annual Salute to Service game. Join us as we honor and celebrate the brave men and women of our military all game long. Secure your seats now and be a part of the action by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. Let's stand together, Duval.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. When you need a trailer hitch, gooseneck, or RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We've been doing it for 55 years, and customer service is our #1 priority. Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Need or want cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Movember is Men's Health Awareness Month, so take charge of your health and vitality at Ackerman Urology in Mandarin, Middleburg, the Beaches, and World Golf Village. For prostate and urological needs, trust Ackerman Urology. AckermanUrology.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Hey, Hicken here. Cooler weather right around the corner, but you can extend your swim season with Surfside Pools. This month, Surfside Pools offering 10% off new pool heaters or heater replacements and installation. Keep the good times rolling, no matter the season. Upgrade your pool heating system now for months of extra enjoyment. Only from Surfside Pools, the trusted name for expert pool service. Family owned and operated. Call 246-2666 or visit surfsidepools.net.
License number CPC 044080.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Florida and Kentucky. Saturday, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. The Gators coming off, well, a heartbreaking loss, quite frankly. They certainly battled, but lost to Georgia in the final moments, 24-20. The Gators are now 3-5 on the year as they have to win 3 out of their next 4 to become bowl eligible, but clearly the biggest story in Gator Nation is the head coaching status and what is going to happen over the coming weeks and months. Let's talk about all of it with David Waters. He is the host of the Gators Breakdown podcast, and David's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. David, how we doing, man?
Doing good, Hacker. Enjoying this cooler weather a little bit. Some people say it feels like football season, but football season here in the South, usually means a lot of hot weather. So,
yeah, we're in the month of November, and unfortunately for the Gators, 3-5, they're not really going to be playing in cooler temperatures in January. Look, the bottom line is I thought the Gators played really hard on Saturday. I thought they battled. Did a couple of calls go against them? Perhaps. But at the end of the day, Georgia was the better team, and the better team probably won the football game.
yeah, Hacker is kind of, for all the changes Florida had, especially on the offensive side with Billy Napier being fired, and then you have Ryan O'Hara, Russ Callaway, being the, play caller, offensive coordinator from the press box now. But even with that change, it still really kind of just felt the same. It's kind of just been the theme for Florida all season. Go play hard, but, have a chance in the fourth quarter and then not do anything in the fourth quarter to really, pull away from a team. Florida had every chance of winning that game Saturday, and, so many chances, and you have a 4th and short, and you kind of felt the game was on the line with that. Florida converts that, and you may have to kick another field goal after that, but you run some more time off or, get a touchdown, and the game's probably out of reach for Georgia. And then Georgia responds and gets the, 4th down stop there, and then goes on to score just a few plays later. It was just such a huge momentum change, but it's just kind of been the story for Florida this year. In the fourth quarter, I pulled the stats up yesterday, Hacker, and you go back and look at it against FBS opponents. Take out LIU, Florida's averaging 50 yards in the fourth quarter for the whole year and 3 points all year. So even with the change on offense, that aspect did not change for Florida, just not able to make the plays when it really counts. Credit to the defense for keeping them in that game. And it's just, go back to the USF game, go back against the Miami game, and, some other games this year, and just can't come up with the clutch moment. And, the clutch plays to win. Credit to them for keeping Florida in it. And it's not reason Florida lost the game. But with as good as the defense has played, one more moment, one more clutch moment, and Florida maybe finds themselves with a better win-loss record right now. So with the change, it still felt the same with the storylines of how the season has played out so far.
David Waters, the host of the Gators Breakdown podcast. Yeah, I thought the guys played hard for Billy Gonzalez, the interim coach. That was nice to see. David, I'll tell you, man, DJ Lagway just quite frankly wasn't very good. And look, I guess we could say, well, he's only had 10 weeks of practice now, right? Isn't that the narrative? Because that makes people feel better to say that. I don't know if he's entering Johnny Brantley territory. He's probably getting close, right? A 5-star that just at this point is simply not living up to expectations.
Definitely not, Hacker. And, we can go and look at the reasons why I'm missing all offseason. I've said it all year. Maybe even myself probably didn't take into account how much that would hurt him. It can't be all the reasons, why we're seeing a struggling DJ Lagway right now. There's something there. I think, maybe to even take it off of him some more, but just probably not the greatest fit for this kind of offense. When you go back and look at it, an offense that still likes to kind of, play in a phone booth, conservative style offense, and it probably suits him some more to get into a more open offense. And we saw less 2 tight end personnel Saturday against Georgia, but it's still kind of the same offense here. But I think marry that with all that time he missed certainly played a factor. But it's hard to quantify how much that actually means, especially as you said, 10 weeks into the season now. And it just seems like if he's taking chances, the interceptions are there. And if he's not taking chances, it's a really conservative offense. And, the big plays are lacking, especially the big plays that we saw last year from DJ Lagway, and why so many people got excited for him to come into this year. Those just aren't at a consistent level at all. And he's missing receivers, and there's a few plays in that game against Georgia. He hits one of those big passes down the field, or 2 of those big passes down the field, and Florida's walking out with a victory. But once again, it's just not being able to consistently hit the big play. And that's, what DJ Lagway was going to live off of this year, we thought, but certainly catching up with him when he can't hit those big plays.
David, I don't know if there's a rhyme or a reason to this, and I'm not necessarily questioning strength and conditioning or what have you, But my gracious, man, the Florida Gator injury bug the last couple of years is insane. And in the second half on Saturday, you're without Vernell Brown, Dallas Wilson, and Aiden Mizell. I mean, that's nonsense, right? How does this continue to keep happening?
Yeah, especially with that position group, if you go back to last year, Trey Wilson missed most of the year. And Mizell was, injured and beat up last year too. That is a position that just really has been hit with injuries, going back to last year as well. So, thankfully you had Elijah Badger and Chimere Dike last year, and those guys were able to show out with Trey Wilson being injured. But it's hard now for somebody else to step up. And that for what we just talked about with DJ Lagway, there was a critical third down where he hits TJ Abrams right in the hands on a slant, and TJ Abrams drops the ball and ends the drive for Florida. So, but Florida's having to go down the depth chart because of all these injuries at receiver, and it certainly is fair to question, at least strength and conditioning in that room. Now Dallas Wilson, we know he was dealing with this injury up until up throughout the beginning of the missing most of fall camp, the beginning of the season as well. It just seems like his foot eventually just finally gave out on him. But you pair that with missing Vernell Brown, Aiden Mizell, like you said, and that's supposed to be your best playmakers at the receiver spot. And, for all the struggles we just talked about with DJ Lagway, some of it can be contributed to that as well. So Florida's going to have to figure something out. We'll hopefully get some injury updates with Vernell Brown III and Aiden Mizell if those guys can come back at some point soon. But now with another injury to Dallas Wilson, some guys are going to have to step up. Trey Wilson's going to have to continue to play like we saw him play on Saturday. And some of these guys that are not making the plays in the critical moments like we saw against Georgia are going to have to if Florida's going to turn this thing around on offense.
Couple more for David Waters, the host of the Gators Breakdown podcast. He's with us here on Hacker After Dark. David, they put so much into the Georgia game. You saw the emotion when they lost, particularly the emotion from a guy like Trey Wilson. There are still 4 games left, but I do wonder, at some point with the firing, with the uncertainty of the future, losing a heartbreaker to Georgia, I do wonder at some point if the wheels are going to come off here.
Yeah, we keep asking ourselves that. We asked ourselves that last year too, and this team just keeps on keeping on, at least to be competitive. Of course, there's no moral victories right now, and you got, like you said, you got a fired coach right now too. So it doesn't really matter. Moral victories, playing hard, it is just kind of what it is at this point. So I do think there's a good kids on this roster. I think that's why they do play the way they play, and doesn't look like they give up at all. But you're right. Does it just keep adding up? And this is a new one, not having your head coach. This is a new one that they got to deal with for the rest of the season. So, a Kentucky team that plays better at home, that's next up for Florida, coming off a win against Auburn, of course, where Hugh Freeze got fired, and then Tennessee and Ole Miss, Tennessee and Florida State. So, you can see it. None of these teams are dominant. They're not great teams. Ole Miss is certainly the best out of the bunch right now. Going to try and avenge a loss to Florida from last year. But, Tennessee game is winnable at home. Florida State game is winnable at home. So, I think this weekend against Kentucky Hacker probably goes a long way in that. It is a team. Florida is favored on the road, even with a fire head coach right now. And you get this one, and you can probably get some good feelings back in that locker room a little bit. But you drop this one, and then I do kind of go to see your point where it may just seem like the bottom falls out, losing to a Kentucky team.
David, craziness that Auburn is now open, along with LSU, obviously Florida. You lump Penn State in. Very quietly, Maryland came open over the weekend. We know about Virginia Tech and Arkansas and, Oklahoma State, UCLA on down the line. It's going to be one of the craziest coaching carousels we've ever seen. But I will say, compared to LSU, certainly, they've had a soap opera out there. It has been pretty status quo under Billy Gonzales, which I think is a good look for Florida. But clearly it's all about what is Lane Kiffin going to do next.
Right, Hack. It's not saying taking the job, but it's Lane Kiffin until it's not. Until you get an answer, he's not coming to Florida, or he is coming to Florida. It's Florida's waiting on an answer right there. And I think that the timeline certainly is probably the biggest hurdle right now people are thinking about when you bring up Lane Kiffin is how far of a playoff run do they go into if they make the playoff, which they likely should. But we'll see how they finish the season. And then who do they match up with in the first round? Do they host a game, or are they playing a weaker ACC opponent where they probably win that game and go to the next? And you're looking really close to January at that point. I think the question is going to be is how long does Florida have to wait? Is there an answer after the Egg Bowl? Is there an answer, somehow before then? I don't think so. I think there's two scenarios, Hacker. It is we get our answer on Lane Kiffin, good or bad, yes or no, right after the Egg Bowl, maybe leading into the Egg Bowl, that last week of the season, or it's just until the season ends for Ole Miss, and nobody knows when that will be. So how comfortable does Scott Strickland feel waiting? And if it's not Lane Kiffin, and then going to all those other jobs you just mentioned, then it becomes true competition. Because if it's not Lane Kiffin at Florida, then you are battling with LSU and Auburn for all these other coaches that are on the list. The list look very similar past Lane Kiffin for all these coaches right now. It kind of seems now with all the stuff at LSU, it does seem like it's Ole Miss or Florida for Lane Kiffin. But then after that, for all these other schools, it's Eli Drinkwitz and Jeff Brom and Summerall there at Tulane, and the list goes on and on and on. James Franklin, of course. And so that's where the competition is really going to kick in, and why Florida really needs an answer soon, because if it's not Lane Kiffin, then you're in competition with all those other schools.
David, final question. I would give it probably 85% that if you give me Lane Kiffin or Eli Drinkwitz, I give you the field. I'm going to have the next head coach at the University of Florida. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I probably lean that way too. Maybe some conversations, maybe throw Brent Key in there as well. I think there's some interest in the administration side from Florida for a guy like Brent Key. So but I think Penn State and Auburn, I think, are the schools there with Eli Drinkwitz that I certainly feel will end up being the biggest competition for Florida if it gets past Lane Kiffin.
And by the way, I've said for a while I would absolutely love Brent Key, even though obviously they did lose on Saturday. I think there's interest from Florida. I just don't know if you're going to get him away from his alma mater, because everybody I've talked to in Atlanta just says Brent Key is entrenched up there and he loves everything that they're doing with Georgia Tech. So we will certainly see. Regardless of what happens, it's a crazy time of year. Obviously, basketball starting up as well. David, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about the Gators Breakdown podcast and where they can find your work.
Yeah, they can find it all the podcast platforms, YouTube as well. Some reaction from the Georgia game and some member chats from Gators Breakdown Plus members are up there now, and we'll kind of just keep on keeping on with some Kentucky talk and coaching talk all week long here.
David Waters, the host of the Gators Breakdown podcast. David, I know you're busy. Thank you for the time. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Thanks, Tiger.
Find Florida Gators basketball on 1010XL.
The Ospreys swoop into the swamp. It's Florida and UNF tomorrow night at 8 on 1010 AM.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentist and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental, with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
Homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save up to 20% on roof replacements and repairs now through November 13th. Financing available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting. Protecting your home, building your trust.
License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Jason, I called you about the ductwork in my attic this summer, and you totally blew me off.
I did.
My airflow is too low and my bills are too high.
I know.
There's stains on my ceiling tiles and sweating around the vents, and the mice have chewed so many holes in the ducts, I think they're getting more AC than I am.
I know.
Then how could you let me suffer all summer, Jason?
Because summer is the one time of year I just can't send my technician into someone's steaming hot attic. They'd kill me. Ductwork is hot, cramped work at the best of times. Lucky for you, those best of times are in November.
You mean like Now?
Bueller Air and Plumbing can repair your old, damaged, or just plain sketchy ductwork right now when it's not too hot and not too cold.
And none of your technicians will kill you.
It's a win-win.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
If you'd like to help dogs find new homes, you can enjoy food, drinks, music, and of course, dogs at the Fall Fermi Festival, November 8th. Find out more at kprok9.com.
Find out how you can be part of the cure for blood cancer at the Light the Night Walk at ViStar Ballpark, November 22nd. Take the first step at lightthenight.org.
Veterans are the backbone of our freedom. The Firewatch nonprofit is designed to help you recognize the warning signs of veterans in need and lead them to assistance. Learn how you can help prevent veteran suicide at thefirewatch.org.
Injuries from e-bikes and e-scooters are increasing. If your child rides one, be sure they follow the rules of the road and wear a helmet made for higher speeds. Help your kids have a safer ride.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
I'm Stacy, and I want to tell you about my fogged up window fiasco at my house. I called up Mac at Baker Glass, and he told me all I needed was a glass replacement. The process was so easy. All within a few days, they came out, measured, called me with an estimate, cut my glass, and came out to install the new ones. Now my view outside is fog-free thanks to Mac and his crew at Baker Glass. And my neighbors think I got some fancy new windows.
I'm Mac with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Pickett here. You know me, I'm a protect the skin kind of guy. That said, it's getting a little cooler and the long sleeves are making their way out. This is absolutely the best time of year to go see my guys, the docs at Beaches Dermatology. Don't wait any longer. It's time. Protect that skin, folks. You know what else it's almost time for? The holidays, coming sooner than we think. Skincare products make great presents for the wife or girlfriend. Knock out a consult and buy your wife a present. Boom! Give them a call today. Online at beachesdermatology.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. We have entered the month of November. The Jaguars firmly in the playoff race in the AFC. They have a gigantic game against Houston on Sunday. Of course, you'll hear that right here on 1010XL. As far as the Florida Gators go, well, they're part of one of the biggest coaching carousels in college football that you'll ever see. Auburn, LSU, Arkansas, Penn State, Virginia Tech. You keep naming them, jobs that are already open with more likely to come in the coming weeks. Let's talk about all of it with Ryan Fowler. Ryan's covered the NFL and the world of college football for a long time, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Ryan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Ryan. Always appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, Ryan, thank you for the time, as always. All right, the Jaguars. You and I haven't spoken over a month, and the Jaguars still firmly in the playoff conversation. In fact, if they started today, the Jaguars would be in. As the final wild card, they sit 5-3 overall after that overtime victory in Las Vegas. Ryan, from a mile-high view, before we really dive in, just your thoughts on the Jaguars 8 games into the year.
Yeah, I think for me, Ryan, I've been looking at this Jaguars campaign with a very wide lens, in the fact where you have a brand new regime and you're trying to find guys that fit what you want to do both on and off the field. Now, I know that's maybe a little bit of cliche as far as what James Gladstone's trying to do, what Liam Cohen's trying to execute within the hashes on game day. But I think overall, yeah, the loss to Seattle and Los Angeles Rams, are you're not going to have great taste in the mouths of all Jacksonville Jaguars fans. But at the end of the day, you go into Vegas and you win an overtime ball game. And you shouldn't apologize for winning games in the NFL. And you are 5-3. And it hasn't been a perfect season because, look, it's been a fun season, especially for me on the outside looking in to the folks down there in Jacksonville, to where, look, it's been an up and down roller coaster year so far for the Jags, where even Trevor Lawrence, is sick on Saturday night, sick into Sunday morning. He goes out there, battles his tail off. You're getting some contributions from guys you maybe weren't really expecting to, specifically on the offensive side of the ball, or a guy like on the defensive side of the ball like Antonio Johnson that needs to step up a little bit more. So I just think looking at this from a wide lens, you're trying to find guys that fit what you want to do. And through the first 9 weeks of the season, you're 5-3. You're a team that's competitive, and you're putting yourself in a position at the end of the day to put yourself in the dance when everyone is 0-0, and you never know what can happen at the end of the day.
Ryan, we're calling it the Trevor Lawrence experience down here because you get a little bit of everything on Sunday afternoons. You'll get just mind-boggling interceptions, like the one he threw in the end zone on Sunday in Las Vegas. But then you'll get crazy throws, like the one to Parker Washington that set up the 68-yard Cam Little field goal. I mean, it's really across the board, and at this point, it's kind of who Trevor Lawrence is. I've made the comparison, to a guy like Jay Cutler, maybe if you want to even say Brett Favre to an extent, guys that 1 or 2 times per game will just have you ripping your hair out, but then in the very next breath, they'll make a throw that makes you go, wow.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm right there with you. I think when I look at Trevor Lawrence, I know there's positives surrounding the kid and there's negatives surrounding him, what he can do. But there aren't many guys around the NFL, bottom line, Ryan, that can do what he can do when the positives are rolling for Trevor under center. Now, I know it's not perfect as far as the situation, even looking along the offensive line or the roller coaster of opinions that has been around the weapons on the outside. Do they need another guy? I think they do. But you just mentioned the throws to Parker Washington. Parker stepped up, right? Caught 8 of his 9 targets in that ball game. Brian Thomas still out there competing, even though he got banged up in that second half. So I think overall, when you look at Trevor Lawrence now in a new offense, that's never good for any quarterback in a brand new system. I love the relationship that he's developing with Liam Cohen and Grant Udinski as far as guys to lean on in meeting rooms, as far as, hey, we don't need you to do everything, but we need you to do enough, because there's a difference, Ryan, in the NFL where you can win games with a guy and you can win games because of. And I think at times Trevor kind of falls into both of those buckets. But for me personally, as far as the talent that he has and the execution level that he can reach at certain moments, you just got to find that equilibrium, if you will. He's the guy for me that you can win games because of in this league. And I think as the years go on, I think he's still going to be their guy, and they're going to build around him even more. I just think, yes, it's negative at times. You got to live with it, but the talent and everything is there for him right now to consistently be a guy that leads this Jacksonville Jaguars roster not only to a 5-3 record right now, to the playoffs potentially in 2025, and really, honestly, bigger, better things to come down the road.
NFL analyst Ryan Fowler with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Ryan, you and I spoke before the year, and the narrative at that point about Travis Etienne was, well, maybe he's the odd man out, or maybe he's the guy that's going to get traded. And now all of a sudden you look, and this looks like the Travis Etienne that we saw back in 2022 here in Jacksonville. He has been fantastic in this Liam Cohen system. He was their best player on offense on Sunday in the win over Las Vegas. And I'm just curious your thoughts on Etienne and the resurgence, quite frankly, of his career so far this season.
I'll say this, Ryan, competition does amazing things to young players in this league. And I know Travis isn't young in retrospect. He's almost 27 years old and been in the league for a little bit. But I think when you look at, you make an additions of Bashal Tutin, you make an addition of LaQuint Allen, that's competition for these guys. And for a guy like Travis, to where he was always the guy, back to high school, at Clemson, he was always the guy. And it's amazing when you push these players a little bit and you have a couple guys in your rearview mirror, young players that can also play as well, you get your starters, your main contributors, your pillars, if you will, of your franchise to really be those guys and step up. Because you just mentioned it, Ryan, as far as he was a focus of potential, guy that's going to be out of Jacksonville. But he looks like a guy right now that everything they expect him to be, of course, is a day one pick all the way back in 2021. He's getting involved on the ground. He's getting involved in space. He's sticking his face in pass pro if he has to in certain moments. I'm extremely happy for him as a young player and a guy that overall is going to have to be great for this Jacksonville Jaguars roster down the road as they get these big-time ball games, specifically this week against Houston or the next few weeks when you look at the Indianapolis Colts and visiting them. So it's going to be big for him to continue this success, but it really comes down to what I mentioned at the top, where James Gladstone is building a culture of competition. And if you don't show up, no matter who you are, you're not going to be in the building, and there's other guys going to take your spot. So I'm happy for Travis Etienne, but more so happy for this culture that James Gladstone's building.
Ryan, final Jaguar question before we branch out a little bit. They have a chance on Sunday to bury the Texans. The Jaguars are 5-3. Houston's 3-5. Jacksonville already has a win over them in Week 3. If they go to Houston and sweep them, the Jaguars are basically up 4 games with 8 to go. They'd be up 3, and they'd have the tiebreaker because of the sweep. But you can bury the Texans' chances of winning the AFC South if you go into their house and win. Jacksonville is banged up. We'll know more about their injuries later in the week. We still don't know about Houston and C.J. Stroud. It didn't look good last week when he left and going into concussion protocol. And the Texans know this. They know it's an absolute must-win for them. But, boy, what an opportunity for this Jaguar team to put what I think would be the final nail in the Texans' coffin in the AFC South race in 2025.
Agree, and what a lot of questions there'll be, right, Ryan, about Houston after this year. Regardless of what the concussion results really come back, and if he's in protocol, if he misses this game, and it is Davis Mills that lines up there, obviously the folks down there in Houston have confidence that he can at least keep them competitive in a football game. I probably differ on that opinion, in my honest opinion, Ryan. But I think overall, when you look at this Houston roster, what they were expected to be, even looking back to last year in C.J. Stroud's second season, and the guys that they've had on the outside and the additions that they made, specifically in the front seven on defense, where they want to get after people, and the headliner that is Derek Stingley Jr. and Kamari Lassiter on the back end, what a disappointing year it would be for the Texans. But then again, when you look at Jacksonville, a team where you really didn't know what you were going to get in 2025 because you have so many moving pieces beyond the guys that are strapped up on game day as far as from a execution and a structure type of perspective. They do have a heck of an opportunity. And I think right now where you win that type of ball game that Jacksonville did on the road in overtime, where it's not easy to win games in the NFL. And I know the Jacksonville Jaguars are thanking Devon Hamilton for getting his big hands up because Tyler Lockett was wide open in the back of the end zone, standing on the top of the A and Raiders in the end zone. It is a great opportunity to make a statement, bury the Texans, and force a lot of questions for them, really, as they turn to focusing on mock drafts here already in mid-November.
Ryan, Ryan Fowler with us. Not only are you an NFL analyst, you've covered the world of college football for years as well, and the coaching carousel is absolutely wild down here in the Southeastern Conference. Auburn came open this past weekend. You forget that Arkansas is open as well, and then obviously LSU and, of course, Florida. As you know, down here, it's all Lane Kiffin all the time. That is the number one choice among the majority of Gator Nation. Your thoughts on the Florida opening, and particularly your thoughts on Lane Kiffin and if he would leave Oxford to come to Gainesville?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's obviously a fun storyline right now to follow. Obviously, Lane is trying to do everything he can to get the Rebels into their first ever CFP appearance, and that's okay. That's fine. I think looking at Ole Miss and Florida as far as paralleling them as programs, obviously there's different spots that you want to go to with different resources. But when you just parallel Ole Miss and Florida's obviously one of the most historic programs ever in college football history. And I think from that alone and the resources that Lane Kiffin would have and the offensive mind that he is and the players coach that he is and not afraid to speak his mind, I think that would obviously fit as a guy that obviously has SEC experience. However, I know all the attention's on him. I know the attention is on Eli Drinkwitz at Mizzou or a James Franklin from Penn State. I would say heck no to that specific potential candidate 100% of the time. My focus is on one guy and one guy only, if I'm Florida, and that is Clark Lee at Vanderbilt. It's going to be extremely hard getting him away from his alma mater. But if you give him the resources at Florida, a guy that has experience coaching already in the SEC, to where, as you know, Ryan, Vanderbilt was always looked upon as a program that does not belong in the SEC outside of the baseball program up there in Nashville. I always think about, even folks down there in Florida are familiar with college basketball and that coaching carousel, where you look back to the Florida Gulf Coast days with Andy Enfield a decade ago. Then he gets the job at USC after leading that program in March Madness. Or look at Dusty May at Florida Atlantic, getting an opportunity then to go to Michigan. Now, this is different with Clark Lee as far as being in the SEC, but going from Vanderbilt to Florida, the type of coach that he is, first off, the conversations I've had with some players and some coaches over there at Vanderbilt, they cannot say enough good things about who he is as a coach, who he is as just a game planner, and as a man and a leader of young men You go to Florida and the hotbed of talent that is, where you have to win Florida as far as recruiting away from Miami, away from Florida State. I think Clark Lee could do that, and is a guy, again, that has that SEC experience. So I know Lane Kiffin has all the attention. Even a guy like John Gruden coming into the coaching ranks has gotten attention. But if I'm Florida and I'm making the decision, my focus would be on Clark Lee bringing him in from Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I like that opinion, because the thought down here is if Lane Kiffin says no, then you turn to Drinkowitz or Jeff Brom. Clark Lee, like you said, has done very well in the Southeastern Conference as a head coach at a Vanderbilt team that is hard for them to compete with the upper echelon, and he has them still, in the top 20? They were in the top 10 as recently as last week. I certainly like that opinion. Ryan, final question. We got about 90 seconds. The land of NIL and the portal, right? I mean, it's made these jobs a lot more comparable. There's still a narrative down here that Florida is a much better job than Ole Miss. And while I agree that there are certain aspects of Florida that are better than Ole Miss, I do think NIL and the portal have certainly narrowed the gap. And I also think those are the two main reasons why you see so many job openings this year.
No, I agree. And, I think overall, a lot of the conversations surrounding NIL and the portal, are that the concentration of talent are going to go elsewhere for different opportunities. I mean, I always think of Micah Hudson, the 5-star at Texas Tech, their highest ever recruit, and the NIL package that he received for ever stepping foot on Texas Tech branded turf, those types of things. But I think at the end of the day, you're exactly right, Ryan. I think, when you look at the SEC specifically, where it always will be the top conference in college football, in my opinion, I know there's conversations about just look at what Ohio State and Indiana are doing right now in 2025. But if you have the resources, if you have the portal, if you have the NIL, if you have the boosters to have the type of money to pay these players to build a roster for whatever you want to do, and that's why I even talked about, Clark Lee and his ability to just relate to players no matter what you're able to do, where you're from. That kind of can adjust where you stand really in the landscape of college football, because at the end of the day, we could talk about portal money. We can talk about NIL money. 4 stars, 5 stars, they know the headlining programs. They want to go to those programs. Now, we're not going to have ever a situation, Ryan, again, where we're going to have a Derrick Henry, a Mark Ingram type and a TJ Yeldon at Alabama with a Brian Robinson in the backfield. That's not ever going to happen again. But when you have these resources, some schools more than others, it's going to concentrate that talent, but you can kind of diversify yourself as far as who you want, how much you want to spend, and then really build from there from the inside out.
NFL and college football analyst Ryan Fowler. Ryan, I know you're busy. Thank you for taking time out, and we'll talk again soon, pal.
Of course. Thanks as always, Ryan.
And thank you to NFL analyst Ryan Fowler for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Ryan's been one of my NFL draft and my NFL guys for years, and we certainly appreciate his time talking about this 5-3 Jacksonville Jaguar football team, a Jacksonville Jaguar football team that's coming off a big road win in Las Vegas. Now they look to Houston, and boy, they can put a real damper on the Texans' future plans. If Jacksonville goes into Houston and wins, the Texans are in a lot of trouble in the AFC South. Absolutely no question about that. So it is a terrific opportunity. And that's kind of the vibe I got in the Jaguar locker room earlier today. There's excitement down there after the win in Las Vegas, righting the ship a little bit. Banged up unit, there's no doubt. They're going to have to tough this one out. We'll see about C.J. Stroud in Houston as well. Both teams are going to be coming in banged up. But at this point of the year, what NFL team is not banged up? And then clearly the intrigue about Jakobi Meyers, right? He was on the practice field earlier today. How much will we see of Jakobi Meyers on Sunday? What type of impact will Jakobi Meyers make on Sunday? That just adds to the intrigue surrounding this game. So we certainly spent a ton of time on that. Talked a little college football as well, as Florida gets ready to head to Lexington to take on the Kentucky Wildcats, and Florida State gets ready to head to Clemson to take on the Clemson Tigers. Boy, what a fall from grace. Both Florida, Kentucky, that's SEC Network on Saturday night. And how about more interesting, Florida State, Clemson. You look back at that at Labor Day and you think, maybe College Game Day, maybe ABC 7:30. No, ACC Network for Florida State and Clemson Saturday night as well. Well, that will just about do it, man. Very, very busy Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM, and we have a ton of people to thank. Again, NFL analyst Ryan Fowler. Always appreciate Ryan stopping by. Thank you to my buddy David Waters, the host of the Gators Breakdown podcast, as we looked at this Florida football team following their loss to Georgia, previewed Kentucky a little bit, certainly talked about the coaching search as well. So we always appreciate David Waters of the Gators Breakdown podcast. Back in hour number 1, former Jaguar Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. You get Leon every day on prime time, and we get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark as we put the final touches in the win over Las Vegas and began looking ahead to Houston on Sunday. Of course, you'll get Leon, myself, and the coach Gerald Ingram 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Texans go final on Sunday evening for the 5th quarter right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. And we were also down in the Jaguar locker room earlier today at the Miller Electric Center as preparations now well underway for the Jaguars with a big division trip